What's up, nerds, and welcome to episode 9 of One Podcast for Nerds. Yeah, okay, so we're all here. Even Bones is here. So let's get the show going, and I'll work on this intro as we move along because I'm trying something new. So as always, remember that you can catch us every Tuesday at 12 p.m. And if you're a Patreon subscriber, you can catch us on Monday at 12 p.m. Plus, you get the unedited version of the video podcast included with your subscription for only $4 a month. If you're not a subscriber and you want to email us, please email the email address, onepodcastfornerds@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/onepodcastfornerds, where you can find where me and Nolan are streaming his first Halo playthrough every Tuesday at 8 p.m. As well as you can find a variety of other things, such as me and Bones playing Apex on random occasions. We don't really have a schedule for that. As you can also find, if you don't manage to watch it on Twitch, you can also find the video version at YouTube, which is One Podcast for Nerds. So just search that and you'll find all of that. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at One Podcast for Nerds, and there you can find out what's happening with the show. But with all of that, let's say hi to who I have with me as always, Austin, because he got mad at me when I didn't say his name first.
Yeah, because we always start with me first. You got to keep consistency up.
Consistency.
Yes, the prima donna.
Prima donna. We also have Nolan.
Hey, what's up?
And we have Bones.
He's back.
Thanks for doing the intro for me.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
man.
You stole that from him. He likes
I
to
know.
do that. That's his thing.
How you doing, Bones? We didn't have you here last week.
We missed you, man.
No, I was preoccupied with other things. I had things going. Things are moving. Gears were turning in ways that made me unavailable.
Bones, did you play anything fun over the week? Like anything cool? Did you watch any cool movies, TV shows? Anything you want to?
Oh, I'm sorry to report, Andrew. I was not indulging in any video games of any kind.
What about movies?
No, Andrew, I can't report any movie watching either.
What about the rest of you? You guys watch anything fun? Do anything fun?
I watched the
got
first Mortal
blackmailed.
Kombat movie again. Man, that's bad.
You
It was
watched
so
it?
What?
You
You
watched
think
it
the
again?
first one's bad? No, the second one's horrible. The first one's
I
perfect.
know there was the second one. Last night I decided, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do Mortal Kombat Trilogy once I found out that there was a second one. I never watched Annihilation. So
Annihilation's garbage. Garbage.
I imagine it will be if I can stay awake for it, because I fell asleep about 10 minutes from the end of the first one.
But the first one is so fun, man. It's like, it's got like the like how can you hate something that beautiful? It's like hating on an exotic bird.
It was a bad movie, but the cheese was there. I
Yeah,
love
it
Johnny
is.
Cage in that movie. I'm really looking forward to Johnny Cage in the next Mortal Kombat.
It won't be Ryan Reynolds.
Of course,
I
won't
wish
be.
it was Ryan Reynolds. It'd be
I
a
wish it was
perfect
Ryan
casting.
Reynolds.
It'd be perfect if it
be-
was, but it won't
I
be.
would be surprised if Ryan Reynolds attaches his name. I really would
Well,
be.
this
flirted
movie
with it
wasn't
on,
bad.
Well, he flirted with it on Twitter, right? Where he posted himself being like Mint Mobile versus like big mobile companies in the US.
Yeah.
It was like Mint Mobile wins, and he put his face over it. So, but I mean, like, think of the actors like on that movie now. Like, they're not anything like they've been in like a handful of other things, right? Like, they're not well-known actors. So, but
What are you worried that he'll steal their thunder?
I think actually that movie could use a big actor name. I think it would help.
It really could.
I mean, it was charming. It wasn't bad at all.
Mm.
I mean,
I didn't
Kano
watch it,
was
so
the
I
best
can't really
part
say.
of it.
Kano is always great, though.
He was hilarious, man.
But Austin, what were you saying that you did?
My American friends blackmailed me into playing Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, right, that's what you've been doing.
Yeah.
Well, once Nolan gets a PS5, we'll all do a squad up.
Oh yeah, brother.
We'll MMO Final Fantasy 14. I haven't played it, so I'd be interested. That'd be something fun to stream for sure.
Yeah.
I would be. I think it'd be fun.
I'm not usually into MMOs.
I'm
don't get me
not
wrong.
either.
I've always liked like stories of like the story from World of Warcraft. I love that kind of like lore and everything like that. But I'm not a huge like fan of the gameplay style. Fetch quests and all that stuff. But this game's pretty alright. I'm not gonna lie. I actually have been enjoying it. I just won't tell them that.
I lasted 30 minutes in World of Warcraft, and that was it. I couldn't do it.
Your horses here. Do they not listen or watch the show?
I don't think so.
Well, fuck that, man. Now you know what you need to do, and then now they also know that you actually enjoy Final Fantasy 14 secretly. Secretly. Actually, before we start, this is. I mean, you guys don't know I'm going to do this. This has been kind of just happened, but
Surprise time.
surprise. Yeah. Let's do a fun little thought experiment. So we have E3's about a month and 4 days away until the first the first E3 in 2 years. Not that that's a big deal. On that note, do you have any predictions of what
Like games to be released?
Yeah, or like wishes would even be a fun one too.
I'd like to see more of Halo Infinite. I'd like to see the actual second, like at least the first trailer for the actual second part of the Final Fantasy VII remake. What else is there that would really interest me? The next Destiny trailer, I guess. I don't know. I usually kind of figure out my stuff as it comes to me. I'm not like really used to being like, this is what's God of War Ragnarok.
Like how you were going one direction, or just like
Well, because as I was saying, I'm like, I don't normally like pay attention to that kind of stuff, but like, come on, it's God of War Ragnarok.
I could see that. Nolan, I know you're not really the modernized situation of gaming, but what like if there was something, even if it was something that you would want a remake of a game you used to play, like what would you like to see coming out? Like even if it's a remake of like a game from like the 1980s, 90s. If you say Mario, I'm gonna like just reach this webcam and slap you in the face because that's my wish already. So
No.
remake of Super Mario Brothers.
God,
that would be awful.
I want to see some news about Metroid Prime 4 and Breath of the Wild 2. There has to be something coming out soon, sometime.
Yeah,
there really does.
Some heads
I
up
agree.
at the very least.
I don't think there's going to be anything of that, but that's what I'd like to see.
Well, we did get an announcement in it was the Nintendo Direct of I don't know this year or earlier this year where when they announced Skyward Sword that we were going to get more information regarding Breath of the Wild 2. So whether that's just in a trailer or just more information of maybe when it might come out or when they're aiming for it to come out, I mean that would be pretty great. Metroid Prime 4 I think we're probably 2 years down the road from that one because it got restarted 2 years ago, and if they're trying to outdo Metroid Prime 3, like we don't know. It could be not that far away, but that stuff actually we can get into even later because there's a bit of coverage on that. Bones, if there was a game that you used to play as a child, even, is there a game you'd love to see as a remake?
As a remake?
Yeah.
I'm not too hip on the current Metal Gear Solid stuff, but is there already a remake of Metal Gear Solid?
The first one, no.
I'd like to see that too.
The first one.
Yeah.
It needs to be the first.
Yeah.
Or Snake Eater.
PlayStation, right? Not the original Nintendo Entertainment System.
Oh, no, the original Nintendo one.
Cool.
Remake that.
So Metal Gear Solid, Konami made it originally for the Nintendo Entertainment System, like the original Nintendo, and then it came back on PlayStation. So not that they're the same game. I'm just saying that it came out actually. It wasn't always a PlayStation exclusive, but I'm assuming you are referring to the PlayStation one.
PlayStation.
Yeah.
PlayStation 1, yes.
Yeah. No, that was a good game. Actually, I have that game.
I liked Snake Eater the best.
Yeah, everyone liked that one too. I only played the first one. I didn't even beat it. And then I think I played 4 was my next introduction. And 4 was actually basically my introduction into the series, and I didn't care much for 4.
I finished the first 2 on original Nintendo. The second one...
know there was 2 on original Nintendo.
There were 2, but the second one wasn't actually a proper Metal Gear game. It was titled Metal Gear 2, but it was, I believe, made by another studio, and it wasn't Konami, and it was I remember there being something, a big thing about it. It shouldn't have been called Metal Gear, but it was. And yeah, then I played the next two on, or next three on PlayStation.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the go-to. For me, it's tough because Nolan hit
Mario.
two. Yeah.
Come
I
on
just
now,
want
we
to
all
see.
knew
I
where it
just
was
want to see a
going.
Mario movie, man. Like, let's show me the trailer
Oh,
for the Mario
what?
movie. Like,
Are
there
you
you
kidding
go.
me? We already have a Mario movie, and it's
No, I hate.
perfect in every
No,
way.
I hate you. I hate you so much. Um,
The only movie worse than that was based on a Nintendo game was Double Dragon. That was
Oh,
such
that's
a
a
bad
good point.
movie.
That's a good
That
point.
was a bad
I haven't.
movie.
I didn't watch Double. I did watch the original Mario, and I thought it was awful at the age of 5. But I didn't. I'd never watched Double Dragon movie.
Like, what the
You
hell
would have
were
thought
they
that was
thinking?
worse.
I think I would definitely love Breath of the Wild 2. Would be a huge one for me for sure. Some more
My
PlayStation.
curious question is, I want to know what Ganondorf's gonna look like. Like
Yeah.
they showed his vampire-esque remains, but I want to see like him actually look, because there's all these different like fan art and everything like that, and it's all in the style of like the rest of the game and the art style and everything like that, and it looks really good. So if they do with that design, I'll be really happy.
I want to know what he's going to sound like, because in the original cartoon, he sounded like Skeletor.
It's probably
Really?
the same voice actor.
Oh, yeah, he really sounded like Skeletor.
I'll get you, Link.
That's exactly what he sounded like.
Because whenever you think Ganondorf, man, he's intimidating, he's imposing, right? You think you would? I think it would be the guy who voices the Arbiter would be a good voice actor for him.
Well, I was just thinking like just any information on Breath of the Wild 2 would be amazing. But I would actually like more trailers on Final Fantasy 16. Like I'd like more.
Oh, you
information on
guess
that
you're
game.
right. I completely forgot about it. Actually,
Yeah,
that'd be a good point.
I'm actually really excited for that game.
We're going back to medieval. It's the first medieval fucking Final Fantasy since like 4 or something like that, right?
I'm trying to think in my head. 4, 5, and 6. No, because I think 6 was medieval.
No, 6 was the one with
Steampunk.
Yeah, it was
6 was the one with the mechs,
Steampunk?
right?
Terra and the Magitech and Kafka.
Yeah,
but
because remember the game opens up and there's like the mechs walking through the snowstorm.
Yeah, but I don't really think I still think of that one slightly as medieval though. It still had knights and stuff in it, didn't it?
Well, we have knights now, but we're not in the medieval ages.
Okay, I guess
You see them in Riverside Park every once in a while.
I think for me right now, I think that like to me that one was medieval up until you reached like actually 7. To me, was the one that became more modernized as like a society, and the environment around you was a lot more modernized in 7 than I think in 6. But yeah, okay, so let's say 4 then for argument's sake. But regardless, I'm excited that they're going back, and I think it's a really interesting environment and a really interesting playthrough or gameplay. So
I mean, it looks very pretty.
it looks very pretty, but I wouldn't expect anything less on next gen. But that being said, it's more of the gameplay I'm really interested in. Like, are they gonna go and keep like Final Fantasy, 15? Like, is it gonna be action oriented, or is it gonna go back to? So that I would like to know. But I also like some more first party titles for PlayStation 5. I would like to know an actual I'd like to know an actual release date of Fable, like the Fable remake, you can kind of call it. I'm really excited for that. Halo Infinite, I'm super excited for. That's coming on PC day 1. So I would extremely like to know what that's going to be like and play through that. Especially with Nolan, if he catches up and really gets onto it, it'd be kind of a lot of fun to play that.
My motion sickness is getting a lot better.
Yeah, well, once you get used to it. But yeah, so I guess that's kind of all I have for E3. But yeah, so I guess with that, let's kind of go into it. Let's get through this, and so the idea of this is we're gonna talk about some big main points, and we're really gonna analyze some of this, what's going on. So starting off with our new segment, we have and this is in reference to a story we did, or a podcast we did a couple weeks ago. PlayStation acquires minority interest in Discord following Microsoft's buyout interests. And so, starting with this, I'm going to quote Matt Kim at IGN, where he says PlayStation has announced it has made a minority investment into Discord as a way to build a relationship between the popular online chat and service and Sony. Jim Ryan, president and CEO of PlayStation, announced the partnership in a short blog post. Though aside from disclosing its minority stake, not a lot of other details were shared. Sony says it has taken its minority stake in Discord's Series H round, and that PlayStation has spoken with Discord co-founder Jason Citron and Stan Vineskvi on ways to bring friends and communities together. Quoting, empowering players to create community and enjoy shared gaming experiences is at the heart of what we do, Ryan writes. So we're beyond excited to start this journey with one of the world's most popular communication services. With all of that and how we just lost everybody, but whatever. Austin, they'll come back. So Austin, like with you, some questions I have and things we can think about is, so what do we think Sony could do with Discord? And in a sense of like, improved party chats, or
as a person who uses PlayStation like every single day, the party app sucks. Go back. If either change the Discord or go back, because this new one sucks. I don't like it. I'd rather have the old one. So if they can fix it, that'd be dope with Discord. Otherwise, I think it's just smart. We could do cross-platform. You could have parties with people with Xbox then. That'd be really cool, especially if because a lot of games are going cross-platform. And if both have interest in the company, wouldn't it make sense?
So you're referring to Xbox and Sony having interest in the company?
Yeah.
Well, remember though that Xbox wanted to buy out basically Discord for $10 billion. They were willing to put the money down and own the company. As for Sony, has just purchased a small portion of it, so so they have minority shares within the company.
Yes,
which means that they have some.
But do we know the value of that? What they spent? What
we don't have the value of that.
But the thing I'm trying to say though is, like, with Microsoft having shares in the company and Sony having, don't do your buggy eye thing, it bugs me.
But Microsoft doesn't have
Sony
shares
having
in the
shares in the
company,
company.
No, Microsoft doesn't have shares in the company.
No, they don't.
Like,
they're not willing to even put shares.
That deal went down.
Oh,
they wanted to buy it outright.
Because,
yeah, they wanted to buy it outright. They didn't put no money. They put no money into it.
Eventually, if this goes well for Sony, maybe Xbox will want to do it too, because Xbox is all about cross-platform stuff now, right? Maybe this will be the key. We'll be because all these games are going cross-platform. Maybe we'll be able to have a party system between consoles, and I think that'd be a really dope idea. But why else would Sony get minor shares a few days after the Xbox deal goes through?
Absolutely, it's gamesmanship. I mean, they're in competition for titles, gamers, everything, and that's a win for Sony.
Will it make you be able to stream your podcasts on PlayStation for people?
That would be funny.
For people to listen and to watch the podcast in the corner of their screen while they're playing a game.
That would actually, I mean, for our own benefit, that'd be funny. I would enjoy that. I do that actually. If for other podcasts,
instead of listening to music, you just have the podcast in a corner, like a picture-in-picture kind of thing.
Even to do this while playing games would be a lot of fun. Like having a conversation with more than just one person, seeing visual, their cameras on, and you can actually see and talk to other people you are playing with. I also think would be pretty cool from how playing with Austin or Nolan, if we were playing Final Fantasy 14, having all our if we all had PlayStation webcams, because I'm sure that would be necessary, but if we all had that, being able to see each other, talk to each other, and play with each other, I think would be a lot of fun as well, where you have those
We're
cues.
friends, but I don't want to play with you.
I don't know how to take that, and the way I did take that was probably not the way you meant it.
No, because you're the one who said play with each other, okay?
I would say red light. Workplace, red light. That's all I have to say. I'm uncomfortable. Go away, boner. All right, so for all of our visual watchers out there. All right, so that's, I guess, yeah. I think with the integration in between the two, I think, yeah, being able to see each other and playing games with each other would be kind of cool, because we can't really do that now when you play PlayStation 4 online with other people. And I'm not talking randos like as a party chat.
I think it would have to be
Option.
like you'd have to be close. You have to like be close friends with like use a close friends request for it.
Or
'Cause
friends.
that makes
Yeah,
sense.
otherwise you're gonna have some predator situations there,
And I would
safety
feel like
issues for children.
I feel like Sony would definitely take that into account. Okay, so the next story, it's just generally interesting. Like all the crap that's coming out is really funny, and I know, like even to our listeners, it's probably been played a lot, but I still think it's funny as like more stuff comes out. So next is going to be the Epic versus Apple trial. So for anyone out there that doesn't know what this is about, basically you can't play Fortnite on your iOS phones because of the whole V-Buck situation. Apple wanted like 30% extra on V-Bucks sales. So when you want to buy your V-Bucks through an iOS device, you would got charged more money than you would if you were to buy it literally anywhere else. Along with that is that Apple made that 30%. It was all that. So then what happened is that Epic Games ended up opening up a store in the Fortnite app where they could sell you the V-Bucks for the same price that you would buy it anywhere else. And Apple was like, nope, can't do that either. And so this is how this whole situation panned out. But things to note is that this trial is taking part in front of a jury.
A jury, really?
Yeah, and basically what they're doing is they're bringing everybody in the industry involved. So Microsoft got involved pretty heavily because a lot of the stories revolve around this. And what they do is they are explaining to the basic of what happens in the gaming industry. So like, what is a smartphone? Like, what is a mobile device? And they actually have to explain this to a jury, being like, well, it's a phone you have in your pocket.
Well, they asked the guy from Epic if he knew what a console was.
Yeah, and they actually brought consoles into it, where they brought like a Switch involved, an Xbox, and a PlayStation, and they asked Sweeney to describe what these things are, and he had to turn them on. Apparently, he had issues with the Switch, like trying to make the Switch work, which was kind of funny. I don't have like complete details on this, but yeah, so all this kind of happened, and it was really funny. But what's really interesting is that so much laundry is getting aired through these trials that like Microsoft's like secrets are getting kind of leaked. Leak is kind of a bad term, but like they're publicized.
They're letting out what they want to let out.
Well, no, they're letting it out, but because they're getting subpoenaed to tell these things. And basically, what Microsoft lawyers are going up like, yo, can we redact half of this, because this is like some company secrets are just letting out here. So let's go through some of this. It's been pretty funny. So one thing we've learned. Oh, sorry. So starting off with this, we're gonna go with PlayStation and Fortnite, because even though I talked about Sony and Epic with Fortnite, basically what happened is that sorry, I'm trying to think of how to word this. This is really tough. But back in 2018, Fortnite on PlayStation became crossplay. It was the first time, and it was like one of like the very first games that were crossplay. I think I don't think there was many games back then that were crossplay back in 2018 for PlayStation. So Fortnite was the first one. And what ended up happening with this is that basically the way that Epic Games got PlayStation to crossplay Fortnite was that they had to pay them ideally what is commission for people who bought V-Bucks or any cosmetics, any money they spent on the game. PlayStation got a bit of pay for it. So ideally, Epic had to pay PlayStation to make this game cross compatible. So quoting Rebecca Valentine from IGN, it was during the line of questioning that Sweeney pointed out Sony's contract had them getting a little extra cash from cross-platform play, specifically when PlayStation Fortnite players consistently bought V-Bucks on other devices, but were still gaming on Sony consoles. Sony has a policy that requires if the ratio of payments across platforms for a given PS user gets out of the sync with playtime, then we have to pay them a commission on other platform revenue, Sweeney said. So if someone were primarily playing on PS but paying on iPhone, they inaudible compensation to Sony. So basically, I think the way I take this is Sony was just getting a cut from Epic Games when it came to Fortnite. Like, if they spent more money somewhere else and they weren't playing on PlayStation, like, oh, okay, well, give us a little bit of extra pay so we can make this crossplay or keep this crossplay program going. And
Because
people on
wasn't Sony the last holdout?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Everyone else was on board being crossplay except for Sony.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the time though, like we're talking PlayStation 4, so I mean, for what is a pie of the market, you had Sony. PC will always be biggest, but with it when it came to home consoles, yeah, you want Sony on your side because everyone owned a PlayStation, like 400.
And they still do.
Yeah, I mean, like it was a ton of people out there own a PlayStation. I'm a little shocked that Epic kind of went with it, but I guess they didn't. I mean, in my mind, I guess they didn't really have a choice. Like, we don't know what the ratio is, like, or the percentage that they own Sony, but I just don't think they had much of a choice to do it.
No, if they want to be truly cross-play.
Well, not even just that, but even for Epics to get everyone that owns a console into Fortnite, they didn't have a choice. Like, they had to pay the biggest shareholder of home consoles to make their game more appealing to others or to those who own it, right? Who owned a PlayStation.
This almost kind of seems like mob extortion to me a little bit.
It kind of does,
I would
right?
almost say it is a little bit of extortion, 100%.
Yeah, it feels like they're like, hey, come over here and pay me some extra money and I'll give you some protection.
It's kind of
Bad
funny
mob
we're just
accent,
talking
but
about
still.
Well, it was more like Mario holding up a toadstool for some money.
But you know what I meant by it, though, right?
Yeah.
Where you gonna pay me some money?
You want me to get the princess? I get the dollars.
Yeah, the coins. That's because Mario's never paid up front. It's always layered out throughout the levels. He has got to collect his
And no,
earnings.
sorry, we cut you off.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
But Austin, you and I were talking about how Sony getting that minority share of Discord was like a win against Microsoft. All this
That's
coming
true.
out now, Microsoft's like, shit, that's another win for Sony.
Good point.
Well, I mean, let's be honest, though. I mean, Microsoft didn't have the best footing when it came to like Xbox One in general. So
it's quite easily to say the PS4 did beat the Xbox One in the generation, right?
Yeah, and also, I mean, with Fortnite being offered on Steam, Epic coming out with its own game store, even for PCs, like there's not much Microsoft could do on that front either. They can't. I don't think they can charge for certain apps being released on or using programming when it comes to writing the code for Windows in general, right? I think that's really Xbox's call when it comes to like Microsoft as a whole company, where Microsoft's like, yeah, go for it, we don't care. They don't get a cut of the shares when it comes to PC. So I think Sony kind of gained another win in this. If we're keeping track of this line of conversation, yeah, Sony.
Yeah, they definitely want to. We could say they once they took a step over Microsoft on this one, but they're again as I'm starting to learn, they're not great people.
What do you mean?
They're literally strong-arming this company. Like, what are you fucking talking about? What do you mean?
Okay, well,
it's business.
Yeah, and also keep that in perspective. Here's some other stuff. So we also learned that we also learned from Epic Games. So we've learned quite a bit. Again, I'm quoting Rebecca Valentine, I should point out, but we've learned quite a bit about how Fortnite works behind the scenes today during the first hours of trial, including that Fortnite made over $9 billion in its first 2 years, and that Epic has spent over $11 million for Epic Game Store exclusives since it launched the platform. It also apparently has been trying to get a Samus Aran as a skin in Fortnite, and already has plans for skins based on The Rock and LeBron James.
That'd be dope.
Really would be.
So so I would imagine Nintendo's getting money for this, though. There's no way Nintendo's not getting paid for having Samus in the game.
Oh, they'd have to.
Man.
It would be licensed.
Samus or any Nintendo propriety involved in another video game, except for maybe Rabbids, because for some weird reason I don't think Nintendo was like really up on that. But having one of their characters shoot and kill other characters is not a thing that Nintendo is known for or likes.
It doesn't fit with the Nintendo theme, but Fortnite's opening up maybe a possibility of other platforms like companies to license their IPs.
Well, I mean, what we had Master Chief. We've had right now. I think you can get Aloy from Horizon, not Forbidden West. That's on my mind.
And it's not even like console exclusive stuff. They got all the Star Wars, all the
Star Wars,
Avengers.
Avengers. Yeah, I mean,
Like, it's a huge licensing opportunity to make money.
it's good marketing too. Have your characters in that game is really good marketing. I mean, like they showed movies in that game.
That's right.
They had concerts
I've read
everything
stories
like
about
that.
Concerts, yeah, man. That game is, especially in today's time.
All the 12-year-olds love it.
Oh man, I'll never forget that video when everything went to a black hole.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that. The kids screaming and crying and throwing
Fortnite is
stuff
the
at the
ultimate
walls.
babysitter. That's what that game is.
What's it called? Have you guys heard the Fortnite song?
Yeah, like
Chug with you.
yeah.
We
Okay,
can
yeah.
be pro Fortnite gamers. Pro Fortnite gamer.
Maybe not that one. I've heard a different song.
It's funny, man. It's really funny. I love
on
it.
TikTok and YouTube or whatever, or sorry, Instagram, because that's the only.
Most of them are making fun of this kid's song, to be honest.
Oh, well, that could be it. So, yeah, I've heard that one. Yeah, I've heard a lot of them on Instagram because that's the only thing I get TikTok on, because apparently everyone that has Instagram uses TikTok and shares it. But yeah, I don't know. I have to believe Nintendo definitely is making some big bucks off of, and so is The Rock and LeBron James.
Oh, of course they are.
Like,
it's just more marketing and licensing of their.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's some sweet mocap happening probably.
But my main man, Dwayne Johnson's getting some money.
Oh, when isn't he though? Let's be honest.
I mean, he does call himself the franchise saver because he saved what is it called? Fast and Furious,
Fast
apparently.
Furious. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Anyways, moving on. Xbox also got pulled into this very heavily, so some Microsoft secrets are being leaked out, though I think leak isn't, again, a proper term. But anyways, Microsoft did an internet review for The Last of Us, or sorry, did an internal review for The Last of Us Part 2, and this is from Paul Tassi at the Forbes. So basically what he said is, quote, "This has nothing to do with the Epic case, of course, but it's fascinating to look at one rival reviewing another rival's flagship release for internal study, something we don't often get a look at in this industry. Generally speaking, it's a pretty glowing review, as you might expect for a game that racked up more than Game of the Year wins than any other in history, though some Last of Us fans are taking issues with a few points raised." And so here are some few points. I'm not going to really go through all of them, but on quiet moments, while walking simulator narrative chapters may not be what many gamers are expecting, they are expecting... Oh, sorry, this is from the reviewers. They are exceptionally well done and really show what other games, especially pure narratives, adventure games, should be aspiring to accomplish with their character dialogue, presentation, and voice acting. They also talked about a lack of choice, that the player doesn't have the ability to greatly influence or determine the outcome of the narrative might prove an anathema. Why can I not read? Anathema?
Stroke?
Anathema.
Yeah, maybe. Anathema. No, just reading in the grade 2 level. It's all right. To many players and how they view their role in the video game experience. However, we would argue that not every video game must be about the player role-playing their character's story.
That's a good point.
So, and then on visuals, the visual quality, that attention, the visual quality and attention to detail in The Last of Us Part 2 is absolutely best in class in basically every area, and that overall presentation is significantly ahead of anything that other teams have been produced on console and PC. In summary, The Last of Us Part 2 is the exceedingly rare video game where what it accomplishes in moving forward the art of narrative storytelling in video games as a medium ultimately outweighs whether to not everyone like it or even everyone has fun playing it, and the like and fun were in quotations. I didn't play Last of Us Part 2. I've wanted to, but I feel like that's just an emotional roller coaster I'm not quite ready to go down right now, because I know the first one was rough. It wasn't even that rough, but the first one was rough.
It's rough in a different way. It's a beautiful game, and I think it got a lot more hate than it actually deserved.
I don't think it got that much hate
Um,
at all.
It got a lot of hate from people because of a certain time. I don't want to spoil anything. It's still a relatively new game. It came out last year. But yeah, so you're essentially, as one of the characters, you kill another character that everybody really, really likes,
Spoiled.
and you're forced to do it. Um,
Wasn't well done.
well, whatever. Who cares? Fuck it. Anyways, yeah. So like, there's some controversy in there, and I get it gets a lot more hate than it actually deserves because it actually is a really, really good game. They upgraded everything from the first game, gameplay wise, right? But it's I think it's really good.
I really want to play it. I just
Give it a go.
I want to. I just don't know if I can emotionally handle that game.
It's a rough ride.
I
It's a
know,
really
man.
rough ride.
I know it's a rough ride. That's the problem. Is that like, fuck, man? That first one was tough. Like, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was. I know.
Gameplay's really good.
I know it won't be as rough as. I know it wasn't as rough as the second one. I'm waiting for it to go on sale to the point where I'm like, yeah, okay, that's a good deal. I should get it because and then just go through it. I just know it's gonna be rough. I know it's dark and just dark. It's just dark.
Very dark.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm right. And like the emotional and the mood setting of that game is just so low. I just don't know if I can keep up with that.
Was
What's
this the
that
one
co-
you guys
that
wanted
co-
me to play because I'm a parent?
That would be the first one I thought would be
the first one.
Yeah.
I think you would actually get really attached to Ellie. But like the second one, you know that Kaleo song, Way Down We Go?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much the second one. Shit. When it goes down fucking hard.
Dude, man, like, yeah. They did really good on that game though, even though like Ellie's just a vicious murderer in some aspect. I mean, like, I don't mean that as though she's
I
doing
was gonna
it
say
for
Joel was a vicious murderer as well.
Yeah, I know, but I know in the second one it's a lot more. There's a lot more substance to the killing, let's say, than there was in the first one. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting that again that a rival game company would actually do an internal review of another one, and like I guess reasons why to do that would be to see what
True criticism,
consumers,
maybe?
yeah, what consumers are enjoying, right? Like this game is so highly anticipated. Like what about this game is really bringing consumers into it, and what can we do to somehow in a way mimic that excitement and mimic and mimic that like the genre, the story, like, you know, whatever particular aspects are doing really well for this game, how can we make it better?
How is that surprising though? Like, why isn't this common practice?
It actually, I don't think it's not uncommon. I just think it's something we don't hear about. Because again,
Well, no, because because Microsoft
internal
doesn't
secret.
want anyone to know that they're talking up another studio.
Yeah, could you imagine if this was the 1990s and like this was like actual console wars and how like Sony's just like pouring this on all their games and you're like, Microsoft said. Could you imagine the dirt talk that would happen now? Sony and Sega and Nintendo.
Because all it takes is
Sega
one
does,
good
Nintendo
quote from
don't.
someone, and like it can make a world of difference. Like the Evil Dead, the only reason that really took off was because Stephen King liked it, and they quoted Stephen King on the poster for the movie.
Did they actually?
Yep.
Okay, because I was gonna say like I thought this was a video game for some reason, and I was thinking like, yeah, well, you know, you have Steven Spielberg and E.T., and Steven Spielberg really liked the E.T. game, but he didn't see that on the cover. And good for Steven Spielberg in the end. But I mean, yeah.
That game single-handedly killed the gaming universe.
Yeah, for
a long
time.
A long time.
A long time. What, like, not? It wasn't even. It was maybe 5 years. And like arcades.
5 years is a long time.
Yeah, but arcades were still pretty roaring back then. They killed home console. They killed home console specifically. But no, yeah, home console. It did not kill. Like, I mean, like, we're killing arcades now, but whatever. Okay, so lastly, regarding Xbox being dragged into this. Xbox believed Breath of the Wild 2, Metroid Prime 4, and Bayonetta 3 would potentially could have been released last year in 2020 during the holidays. This is from
Really?
Kevin Sullivan. Yeah, so this is from Kevin Sullivan at Game Rant, and I quote: "As part of the Apple versus Epic trial, a document was published by Xbox as evidence that features a rough outline of high-profile Xbox One titles releasing late in 2020, but what's considerably more curious are the predictions Xbox made for as far as the competitors' releases schedules. According to the document, Xbox believed that The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 was released in 2020. In addition to Breath of the Wild 2, Xbox also thought that widely anticipated Nintendo titles like Shin Megami Tensei 5, Bayonetta 3, and Metroid Prime 4 would have all been released in 2020. Obviously, there's no way to know. Obviously, there was no way for Xbox would know that these games would release in 2020 unless Nintendo somehow leaked it to Xbox. So, I mean, I've heard that there's just been some excuses where some like interns just Googling some shit and just was like, yeah, this seems plausible. Like, I mean, this could happen.
Well, I mean, they're in the industry, and the industry is not like a giant fucking industry. So I imagine there's some like people who are higher up in Microsoft, higher up in Nintendo that are friends that will talk about it.
I would
mean-
bet otherwise.
I
That is
imagine there's a lot of contractual clauses that prohibit
Yeah.
them from disclosing a lot of information. But saying
Okay,
that,
Say
hold
that.
up.
Say that to
There's-
Spider-Man. Say that to Spider-Man.
Hold up. So literally what you're saying is high up Nintendo people sharing anything with Xbox. You have to remember that all test devices at Nintendo in Japan are bolted to a desk and cannot be removed from the building. And
Well, I'm
even
not I'm not sitting there. They're like, oh, look at this new controller.
No, but what I'm saying is there is no way that high security business would have been like, yeah, it's cool if you tell Xbox something. That guy would be fired then and there if it got out, of course.
Well, I
it's
don't
no-
think they're
it's no
expecting
secret
it to
what-
get out.
It's no secret what titles a lot of the studios are working on, so you know what's in development.
Yeah, well, we all knew
But-
that these games were in development.
Yeah, the specific release dates, though,
No.
that's something that people like. It's important for each company to try guess when something's coming out, because you don't want to put something out the same day as Breath of the Wild 2, because it's going to
That's
get
a good
crushed.
point.
Yeah,
Right.
That's a
no,
good
for
point.
sure.
So you do
Happened
need
to
to try and
Battleborn.
have your forecast. You have to try and forecast what your competition's doing, and it's
That's
something
actually
that
a really good point.
I mean, because like going back to one of our other podcasts when I was talking about the Halo effect and how that crushed the Hollywood box office.
That was my podcast.
Yeah.
But
like-
essentially, so what you're what you were just saying there, it went over to so Gearbox created this game called Battleborn, which is a hero shooter, right?
Yeah.
And they released it a week before Overwatch came out. They literally shot themselves in the fucking foot.
Because everyone's waiting for
Because-
Overwatch.
Because everybody's waiting for Overwatch, right? If Battleborn had came out about like 3 months or like even 2 months ahead of time, they would have had a chance to get a foothold into it. Because Battleborn's like gaming play style and everything like that was actually I enjoy Overwatch, but I thought it was better in a lot of different ways. So I think they like exactly what you're saying, the Halo effect.
Yeah, because that when Halo, I can't remember which one it was that came out, it just devastated the Hollywood box office that weekend. They had some big movies out, but everyone was waiting for Halo. And you drop $60, $70 on a game, you're not going to go see a movie that weekend. You're going to play Halo for 48 hours.
That's true.
And that's what happened. So, like, it's important. Like, they have to try and forecast when the competition's putting out their big titles, because that has a huge impact on how successful their titles are going to be.
That makes sense a lot.
And, that's where I could see where there could be some conversation between the different companies. But that would just be so I don't know. Just try and protect themselves.
Well, I what I think is safe to assume is that this document could be old because we had COVID-19 hit. There's no way everything got slammed so quick. All game developers had to work from home. Coding had to be done from home. Publishers had to find a way of sharing these codes and making everything work. So there's also a good chance that this document could be from 2018, 2019, before, Halo Infinite would have been in production. Breath of the Wild 2 we knew was in production. Metro Prime 4 we knew was in production. Bayonetta 3 we also know, and all these things. Out of this list, I would say Bayonetta 3 was the most likely to come out, I would say, in 2020 compared to all the other ones. But yeah, I
So have
think
we even heard anything about Bayonetta 3?
no, but it's been a while since Bayonetta 2. Because Bayonetta 2
Yeah,
I
you're
think
right,
came
but
out a year
you
or the same year as the Switch.
usually you would hear something by now. If it was going to be released last year, we would have seen a trailer beforehand. So with the trailers of the other games being out already, don't you think that these games would come out before Bayonetta 3?
Well, I would also say that this would argue more about how this document's older than it is newer. Where maybe some of these trailers already came out, they were expecting a trailer for Bayonetta 3. So again, we don't know the date on this document. We don't know when this document was actually published, and if how relative it is to what we're going through during like COVID-19, right? So they could have expected. I mean, I would think if COVID-19 didn't hit, yeah, I would actually almost assume we would have had Breath of the Wild 2 by now. Like I would agree that would have came out last year if we were in a different situation. Metroid Prime 4, nope, I don't think that game would have came out, and I don't know why they thought that, but we're not Microsoft, so we don't know. And then Bayonetta 3, yeah, I mean, they could have expected a trailer within the next year of when this document was written. So I think this just kind of goes to show that, yeah, Nolan's right. I think everyone here was just kind of forecasting and planning when this was all going to go down. I mean, they had Halo Infinite was planned to get released last year. Imagine trying to do that during Breath of the Wild. I mean, you have your Xbox hardcore fans for sure, but also there was more Switches out there for like Xbox, or there's more Switches out there than there are Xbox Ones at this point. So, that'd be a tough competition to fight.
At that point, what's worse? Why even bother?
Yeah. And I mean, if it probably wasn't for that review and everyone having so much backlash when it came to the graphics and all that with Halo Infinite. But I mean, who knows to say that maybe, Halo Infinite is supposed to come out this year. Who's not to say Breath of the Wild 2 won't come out this year. So did Xbox actually avoid anything yet? Like, we don't know.
Well, I mean, but at the same time, they're two very different style of game. I'm sure they'll attract their own super fans of those style of games.
Yeah. Well, I
like
mean,
if it
even with
Go
Xbox
ahead.
Game Pass, right? It's free.
Yeah.
So
But
what sales are they truly losing?
That's a good point. But at the same time, I'm saying um, if it was like a RPG open world kind of game, I can imagine them trying to compete more with Breath of the Wild. But if it's a first person shooter, it's not going to be sitting there being like, we need to beat every Breath of the Wild in every aspect. They're going to be focusing more on the next Call of Duty or the next Battlefield.
Well, also, I think what's safe to say is Nintendo's never felt like Sony and PlayStation, Xbox and PlayStation have ever been like true competition to them because they compete.
But why would they?
Yeah, they compete in different spheres. One's more about gameplay, one's more about graphics. But even with that point, I was gonna say that I don't think it. Yeah, I think it doesn't matter because again, everyone. I mean, Xbox doesn't make money. I shouldn't say that. I don't think Xbox will really make any money off of Halo Infinite anyways. There isn't much there to worry about. It's going to be on Game Pass day one. Anyone who owns a PC and has Xbox Game Pass is going to make it, is going to get it day one. Anyone who has a Switch, unfortunately, you don't get Breath of the Wild 2 for free. That's going to cost you $90. And Xbox doesn't even make money on consoles. Like we learned that in these reports too, that Xbox has never made single dollar on a console since the launch of Microsoft Xbox. So I
Really?
mean, yeah. So how worried is Microsoft really about dollars? Like I actually don't even know, and I don't mean this as a diss in any shape or form. It's just kind of a thought. But like, what is Xbox even trying to get at anymore? Like, what do they make money on? I mean, Xbox Game Pass. They have to make money on Xbox Game Pass to make it at all a viable option. They have to count more on software than hardware, which I mean, Microsoft has always counted more on software when it came to anything. So it just must be the same philosophy going from Microsoft to Xbox, I would think.
But Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, they all make money off of the software. It's
Well,
never been about the hardware.
no, so Sony does make not a lot, but they do make money off their hardware. It's
Yes,
like,
but
but we're talking like
that's not.
$10 a console.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's insignificant to them, really.
no.
It's always
So,
been about the
But
games. That's where they make the money.
and then okay,
depends
but
on the
then you
amount of
also,
consoles you sell, though. If you
yeah,
sell
and
over
also
a million consoles, it's a lot of money there for that extra $10.
but even that, I mean, even with that, Xbox has Game Pass, and I mean, like, again, they have to be making money on that somehow, and I don't know how. I really don't, because it's what $13 for us to get it on PC
It's every
Yeah.
month.
a month. Yeah, but imagine, like, I mean,
How are any of these streaming sites
I
making
can
money?
pay that off. Well, I can pay off my Xbox Game Pass probably within like 2 months. Like
No,
with the
you're
amount of
right.
games
That's what
I've
I'm saying.
downloaded, yeah. So I don't know.
Um,
I
but
think
it's
that's a
one of the
whole
same things
conversation we
as
have to
like,
research.
well, you're not wrong on that. But like at the same time, we could say that with any streaming site, right? Because it's not the reason why it's cheap is because they know everybody's going to do it, right? They don't need to have these big numbers because once you have a couple million people downloading games off your streaming site, right, or downloading movies off your streaming site, the $13.99 a month you pay, right, that's astronomical, and it's a never ending cash cow.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of games, I believe, are also moving towards microtransactions.
Well,
And
and it's just because it's getting really expensive to make games, and unfortunately,
it is,
microtransactions are a
especially
way
with
for the companies to actually make money.
With inflation, yeah, it's getting expensive.
Yeah, like people are getting upset that video games cost $90 now, but for a long
In
time,
Canada.
video games, well, because Canada has a lot of taxes, but
Well, no, it's
um,
just that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, it's $90 here, $70 in the States, and that has to
but
do with market retail.
we've also been paying for games that have been way cheaper than they're actually supposed to be for a while now, right?
Yeah, yeah, because back in 2010s somewhere, one of the old CEOs of PlayStation said that one day games have to go up in price because of inflation, because games have been stagnant. As inflation grows, games didn't increase in price.
Yeah. So it's one
So
of the things where everything's going to get more expensive. So maybe
yeah,
streaming will be the right way, and because you're not paying, people aren't paying a lot, but there's a lot of people paying a little, and I think
yeah,
that's you got to keep that in mind.
but on
well,
Nolan's
that's why the new there was a memo, the internal memo from EA that was leaked a couple weeks ago that the higher ups in EA were trying to their goal for FIFA 2021 was to really push their Ultimate League because you had to pay to do that, and they're going to make money from the microtransactions in the game. And that again goes to the whole Epic and Apple thing. Like when you're focusing on the microtransactions to make your $9 billion, then like the consoles want a piece of that. So Apple's going to want a piece of that if it's going through their store, and it's going to be the same with
Well, I
Sony,
forgot we were talking
Microsoft,
about
and
this.
everyone.
yeah, well, what you're talking about is competition, right?
Yeah,
Where at some point it won't just be Epic that's trying to sell V-Bucks, or some aspect of whatever some other company has as version of V-Bucks, and it's everyone trying to sell something. Yeah, I mean, microtransactions I think are the way of the future. Loot boxes, on the other hand, I think are dead. I think loot boxes won't be a thing, anytime soon. I think EA is gonna have a hard time with that. especially with
I
what's
mean, they're
happening in
still
Europe.
having a hard time with it.
Well, with Europe, Europe is basically outlawing loot boxes, right?
Well,
So,
Yeah.
it's literally gambling.
yeah, no,
It is. But
Um,
that's why, like, there's Supercell, a mobile game or mobile game developer. They're behind Clash of Clans and all that, and they make a killing off of all the small transactions in their games. Their
Yeah.
games are free to play, but you spend $6 here, $7 there, $15, $20 there, and they all add up. And when
All right,
they've
Nolan, I
got,
have a question for you.
yep,
You play that Transformer game on your phone, right?
I was gonna bring this up.
yes, I do.
Yeah. How much money do you spend on that Transformers game?
You know what? It's a free game, and I've probably spent about $100 in total on it.
Actually, that's actually not
And
a lot in the long run for the amount you
I've been
played
playing that
that
for
game.
5 years. Actually.
Yeah, I was going to say that's actually not a lot at all.
No, like I dropped like $15 here, $15 there. Like I haven't done that for quite a long time now, but no, like I've known players in that game that will spend $500 to $1,000 in a weekend,
Yep.
and like they'll do it. And like I'll never ever spend that much on a game in a weekend. Well, in a lifetime, but but no, like that drives the directions of a lot of these companies and a lot of these games.
Yeah, I think what we're all trying to say here is that microtransactions are the future.
Whether people like it or not, you're not
Yeah.
here. You gotta understand that that we won't get games anymore if we don't if we revolt against microtransactions because there'll be no more studios.
Well,
It's the whales that are going to be paying those studios.
It's not just that
And
though, but games will go up in price as well if that really comes down to it, right? Like it won't stop at $70 in the US, $90 here. Like at some point, games are going to be more. And what sucks is, God, I miss the handhelds days. When you bought a DS game for half price or a Game Boy game for half price, like. So moving on to another story, because that was I was expecting it to be a long conversation. I'm glad it was, and I think we had a good one on that one. So I'm glad everyone shared their thoughts. So yeah, next is we have a new trademark holder for Sunset Overdrive, a game that used to be exclusive to Xbox. This is from Leanna Rupert at Game Informer. When Insomniac Games first unleashed the chaotic parody that is Sunset Overdrive, it was an Xbox One exclusive. This vibrant colored energy drink fueled open world experience deserved a lot more love than it got. But now it looks like it could finally be making its way over onto PlayStation platforms due to the recent trademark seemingly filled by Sony, which makes sense given that PlayStation's company owns the studio that created this game to begin in. It's a weird way to end their sentence. The trademark filing for Sunset Overdrive was spotted by @Nibble and looks to be registered with the status update of 260421. Oh, apparently Game Informer is European because 042621 for those in America. That's funny. It's just funny that that's included in there. The trademark is for the single phase Sunset Overdrive, which some are connecting with an earlier leak that seemed to point to a remastered edition coming to PlayStation consoles. So I've really wanted to play Sunset Overdrive. It's on Game Pass for me and Nolan.
You should. You guys should. Really good.
And I'm curious. I mean, a part of me is just like, I guess it was April is what it said. April. Yeah. So
yeah,
it was
April
back in
26th.
April. So I kind of wonder if this is Sony being like, fuck you with MLB. And we're just going to do Sunset Overdrive. Because a lot of Xbox players wanted Sunset Overdrive to come back. I actually remember
because it's actually a good game.
Well, I remember listening to Ryan McCaffrey from IGN on Xbox Unlocked, podcast, and he had Phil Spencer on there, the CEO of Xbox, and was just like, "So what's going on with Sunset Overdrive? Like that game coming back?" And Phil Spencer being like, "Yeah, we want to do something with it." Well, something's getting done with it. So
it's just not with them, unfortunately.
Not with them. I'd be surprised though if PlayStation didn't throw Xbox a bone, being like, "Here you guys go too." I just wonder if that would be something they think about, being like, hey, Xbox owners, here's PlayStation Studio games. That's right in front of their face. Just with like MLB The Show. First thing you see is the big PlayStation Studios from Santa Monica. But I don't know. I mean, like, I would probably prefer a remaster than it would make sense to do a remaster of the original than to come up with a second, like to come up with a sequel to that game. That's a visual effect no one's gonna see, Austin, or hear. Sorry.
I don't have much to say about it. I just I mean, for me personally, I would be happy with either. So
Yeah, but you played the first one.
I didn't
Did
actually
you?
play the first one.
No,
I
you
watched
just.
Ray play it. He streamed the entire game.
Oh, so you
I don't
just
have an
watched the stream of the
Xbox
game.
One.
Fair enough. Well, I don't know. You have friends, don't you?
Other than you guys? Yeah,
None of
no,
your friends.
I do.
None of them want an Xbox One.
Yeah, my friend Brett, he
Oh.
does, but I only ever, um, I only ever talk about Xbox to make fun of it for him because, he gets defensive easily.
Well, fair enough. Yeah, I do that with you on any other things. Nolan, I don't know. You watched the trailer, right? I sent the trailer to
I
everybody.
did. It looks like a lot of fun. It's
And
got a
was
lot
that,
of humor in it.
imagine
I
if
mean,
that was an E3.
no, that'd be
That
cool.
that would be a Sunset Overdrive release from Insomniac at E3 2021. That'd be interesting. All right, so
Moving on.
yeah, moving on. Sorry, I was reading it. See, this is why we missed you because we talked about Wayne's World for 10 minutes without you, and we're like, man, like normally when Jonah's here, we can he's really good at like
Keeping us on track.
keep it going, and we kind of went really off rails.
Nolan and I sat there and made faces in the camera while you were talking to try to distract you for a good long while.
I actually don't watch you guys. I'm watching the Word document that I'm reading or going through, so I don't see anything you guys are doing half the time. So Nintendo is expanding beyond games. This is again from IGN's Matt Purslow, and I quote: Chris Meledandri, CEO of American animation studio Illumination, has been nominated to join Nintendo as an outside director. Sorry, I'm going to butcher his name, but Meledandri, whose company is responsible for Minions, Despicable Me, and the upcoming Mario animated movie.
Oh, Illumination?
Yeah,
Yeah.
is anticipated to join the company following approval of the position at Nintendo's 81st annual general meeting of shareholders. That meeting is set to be held on June 29, 2021, according to Nintendo's latest financial report.
Oh, there goes Nolan.
Nintendo is looking into more animation features beyond Mario, and it may be that Meledandri and his knowledge of film and animation could be an asset in regards to the expansion. So,
well, Illumination has been knocking out of the park recently, so it makes sense.
Well, so a point I made on here, and I think this is kind of an interesting topic to talk about. You know, like Nintendo's been coming out with like theme parks, Lego, toys of all kind, video games, and now potentially movies, and how they're looking to even do more than just Mario. Like, you know, it might come out with like a Samus animated movie, and
I mean, it
Legend of
would
Zelda.
catch in for the strong female lead.
But
Because
well, I'm
Samus
just
Aran
saying,
was the very, very strong female lead.
yes.
Yeah,
Well,
video games.
once it was realized she was female, though. But even that, I mean, like Nintendo's like, do you think Nintendo's looking for other revenue because, you know, with the Switch being out, it's basically they merged. You know, they used to have console and handheld, home consoles and then handheld, and like their handhelds did really well. Like the DS is like one of the most best-selling consoles in general, or video game device, however you want to call it.
And the Game Boy beat out the Game Gear. Sega's
Yeah,
handheld.
Game Boy did really well as well.
And Game Boy wasn't color like Game Gear.
But like with all that, like I mean, that's a huge revenue loss that Nintendo has. So do we all think that Nintendo's just looking for other sources of revenue? Granted that now the Switch is just a one and all, and basically what they did is they cut their revenue. I mean, like the N64 didn't do that well, the GameCube didn't do that well, the Wii U didn't do that well. You know, all you had was the NES, Super NES, and Wii were like their best selling consoles. Now the Switch, of course, is doing super well. So yeah, I mean, is it safe to say that's what Nintendo's doing?
Well, they're probably
Yeah.
branching out into more revenue streams just to be a bigger company so they can continue to compete with Sony and Microsoft. Sony and Microsoft are giants. Nintendo is huge, but they're not nearly the size of Sony and Microsoft.
Well, they're not even close to the size.
No.
I mean,
So
you have Sony that dips in TVs, audio,
right, like
movies, like as a publisher, not even just not even as like a third party publisher, but a main publisher.
no,
And
absolutely.
Microsoft
And
named after a dick.
I don't think he got that one.
Do you
But
do you have a Twitter handle, Austin? Because so many people want to come after you.
but Nintendo, like, they're a big company. They've had financial troubles in the past. Maybe they're looking for some way to be financially more stable so they can continue to always compete with Sony and Microsoft. And
Yeah.
they've already dabbled in the movies and TV in the past with when I was a kid, there was the Super Mario Brothers TV show. They did The Legend of Zelda, and then they've done some movies. Like, they are a family entertainment company, and so it just makes sense for them to take that next step to continue to grow. I mean, without the pandemic, the Switch probably never would have reached the heights that it's been reaching right now.
Well,
That's tough to say. That's a tough call to make.
I would say the software. I don't think like with Animal Crossing coming out when it did, and I don't. I mean, that's a perfect example. I don't think that
Yeah.
game would have been as popular. Like it wouldn't have sold as many copies as it did if the pandemic didn't hit. Because that game came out
No.
dead start lockdown.
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember the EB Games here in Kamloops, I think shut down 2 days after that game released. They had to basically shut down, if not even the day after. And that's when they did like the whole like so many people can be indoors, and so that game skyrocketed. And I would say that the pandemic had a lot to do with that.
Oh, absolutely. I think so. But if that didn't come along, who knows what kind of shape Nintendo would be in? And they put all that money into the theme park, and it really looks like they're trying to branch out into different things so they can, I think, be financially more stable as a company, because they haven't always had a lot of success. Like you said, with the GameCube, the Nintendo 64, like those didn't do very well. The Wii U was a big failure for them. And they have had financial troubles in the past where Microsoft, Sony, such a huge broad net of products, they're far more financially secure and stable. And Nintendo's probably looking for the same kind of thing.
Yeah, I think financially stable is a good way to put it. I think it's just more that if I mean the Switch I don't think is going to be an issue, but if their next console comes out and that seems to, dip and bum out, then having that extra revenue on your backhand, whether it's your theme parks, your Lego collection, you have your or your stinking movies and TV shows that are coming out. I mean, they did it once before.
Stinking movies and TV.
Stinking
shows.
movies and TV. Keep
Stinking
Mario where
movies.
I like them, in my video games, not on my Netflix.
They stink.
Just kidding. Give me Mario on Netflix. That'd be sweet. But yeah, I do think that's. I don't know. Bones, is there a particular Nintendo character you'd like to see in a movie?
Them all. Have them all in just a mega
Super
bonanza of Nintendo.
A Super Smash Brothers movie is what that's called.
But it's like, you know how Lego makes parodies of movies and characters?
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. So like a Lego, like if they took like the Nintendo Lego set, but then like added like everyone else, like you had Link and all that crap. I will say that if they do a Lego Link and they were to do a movie like that, I want the Link, like original Link, like NES Link in it. I don't want new Link. I want like the whole 8-bit 8-bit Link with like a high
That fits a lot better with the Lego character than
with
the
like
new Link.
really
Have
deep
it-
voice.
Have
Just
it
a small child with a
Infinity
deep voice.
War style.
Pardon?
Like that?
Infinity War. So like Mario could be Iron Man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and then Bowser's Thanos.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets all different colored toads and just
Bowsers.
yeah. And man, I think a Zelda style Game of Thrones would be interesting.
That'd be dope. Have Ganondorf. Everybody believe Ganondorf is their friend, and then he stabs them in the back like super hard.
Actually,
But
I think I would not lie, but I think a TV show, even how Ganondorf came to be, and like how what are they
How he
called?
went to evil.
Well, what is it? It's what is this race called? Jesus.
The sand people, the grotto or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
Grottos. Yeah, the Grottos. I think. Yeah, I think you're right. Jeez, that's really bad for us to be nerds
Something
and
like that.
not
I
know this
mean,
shit.
you're the Nintendo guy, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah, there's I think Azoras and Gorons, but the Garridos. Basically, they're Guidos. But anyways, just imagine if.
Wow.
Yeah, I can say it though, so it's okay. But like their race is mostly female, and that there's a male born every like what is it like
1,000 years.
Is it 1,000 years? I was gonna say that. I almost want to say 7 years, but yeah, like a male born every
Oh my!
1,000
It
years.
makes 7 years makes more sense.
But I think having that being like an interesting story, like just how he came to be, I think that would be kind of cool. Like how like males are born in that civilization every so often or very rarely because it's mostly females, right? That'd be kind of
Yeah,
a
and
cool
it's
story on its own.
for me, I'd like them to make an actual like live action, like almost the way they did Detective Pikachu, but have it be the very first Pokemon movie with Mewtwo.
Like Pokemon
I think that'd
2000.
be dope. Uh,
Like I'm talking like the very first Pokemon movie. That's Pokemon
okay,
2000.
because that's what they named the Lugia one, Pokemon 2000. The very first Pokemon movie was
Oh,
called
what
Pokemon the
one
movie.
movie? Yeah, right. I'm thinking Pokemon
Yeah,
2000. Yeah, I
that was the one
gotcha.
with Lugia. Another good movie. But the first one's easily the best one.
It's also weird that
Um,
they made a movie specifically for Lugia, but not Oho.
because it's
And
more
anyone who
connected
had
to
gold
Ash
was
in the
garbage.
anime.
I thought Oho
Uh,
was more connected with Ash in the anime because that's
that's why I said Ho-Oh is.
yeah, because he's the
That's why
first
Lugia
Pokemon he
got its
sees in
own
the
movie.
series. I don't even know if Nintendo made any cut on the Pokemon movie, like Detective Pikachu, because I don't think so, because it's a Game
It's a
Freak.
Game Freak, but it's also
And
a Nintendo property. That's why I'm saying that.
is it Nintendo
That's
property?
well, it's only on
Nintendo
Nintendo's.
publishes it, but Game Freak owns the rights.
Well, you're right, but that's what I'm saying though.
It's like
Like for
it's
my
like
choice,
second. It's
for
like
them to make a movie.
it's a second party publisher is what Game Freak is, right? Because they're not. I don't think they're owned by Nintendo, but they publish for Nintendo.
So that's why I'm saying though. It's for my choice for a Nintendo movie. That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
I think a Samus one would be really good too.
That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, that'd be a really good one. An F-Zero movie would be interesting. It'd be like Fast and Furious, but like Captain Falcon.
It would be
No?
Speed Racer the movie. They
No.
already did it.
Yeah, I would love it. I don't know. I want an
I've seen
F-Zero
those.
game.
I've seen that movie done so many times and so poorly.
Yeah, I don't know what else Nintendo has I'd like to see. I mean, they got a lot of first party crap to go through, and they have a lot of things they can experiment with.
What's it called? The medieval one with Marth and
Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem. There you go.
Yeah,
Fire Emblem would be a great one.
that'd be an interesting game for sure.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know how you turn-based game into a movie. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's like literally like a 5-minute like fight scene where it's just them going from like fight to fight. That'd be interesting.
Well, the whole
they did with
world's
Final
interesting.
Fantasy.
90% of the time, it's a war drama.
They did do it with Final Fantasy. This is true. But okay, so I mean, with the conversation we had regarding like revenue, I've pulled up some of Nintendo's records this year because they had an earnings call. So the company reported revenue of $16.59 billion, which is up 34.4% year over year, and it's been its highest since the fiscal year of the 8th month of the 9th year, which I don't know. September.
That's good for them.
Yeah. Their operating profit was $6.04 billion, up 81.8% year over year, which is pretty good. And that's the highest operating profit the company has ever recorded. Operating profit ratio was plus 9.5 points. The Nintendo Switch has sold Nintendo Switch has sold 84.59 million units as of March 31st, 2021. Total software sale for the console has reached 587.12 million software units. Nintendo sold approximately 28.83 million units of hardware and 23.9 million units of software in the past fiscal year. So I think it's safe to say that I think there's a good chance that the Switch might become the best-selling console of all time.
It could be with numbers like that, and it keeps going strong.
How fast
It's
it's
not stopping,
growing.
and it doesn't
Well,
stop.
I think did the Wii beat the PlayStation 2? Well, then I think it will.
Yeah,
Because I was
the
about to say,
Wii-
because the Wii, I thought the Wii did beat it, and the Wii was like an astronomically popular one.
it was very popular. I don't think it beat the PlayStation 2. The DS, I think, is the only thing I can think of right now that did beat the PlayStation 2. So, but the DS had a long life, and that's why it's a good chance that the Switch might become the best-selling console, is because they're going to probably do with the Switch what they did with the DS, where it's like DSi, DS Lite, 3DS, all these variations are going to come down, right? So reportedly, we might even see the Switch Pro at E3, or however you want to call it, the newer version of the Switch with its OLED screen and stuff like that. That might come out later this year. So along
Watch
with
them
Breath of the
call
Wild
it
2.
the Switch 2.
I don't think they'll call it Switch 2.
I don't know. I think it'd be hilarious.
They'll probably call it the new Nintendo Switch.
That makes sense. And you
The
know the only thing they're
NNS.
going to add to it, Andrew? They'll have colored
Two.
buttons. Colored button. Just like the
I don't know.
new 3DS. That's all they did practically.
They'll call it the Super Switch.
Yeah,
There you go.
I would love if they called it Super Nintendo Switch. That would be a great name. I would yeah, I would dig that. Nintendo's Entertainment Center Switch, or sorry, Nintendo Entertainment Switch, the new NES. That'd be great too. But all right, so we're done with news. News is out of the way. If you're watching the video, my arms are flaring the news away.
Swimming through it.
Yeah, so I guess any games we've been playing, I guess, is how we're gonna end this. So games we've been playing. Anything?
No.
Anyone been doing anything fun?
All I've been playing is Halo with you on Tuesdays,
Nice.
and that's been fun. I've been
I've
enjoying
been
that.
doing a Dark Souls 3 playthrough with some of my online buddies. Then, like I said, they blackmailed me essentially into playing Final Fantasy 14, so that's what I'm doing right now for most of my time. The next Destiny season starts on Tuesday, so next week my answer is going to be Destiny.
No, that's right. Yeah, because we're doing this next week too.
Yeah.
Get writing, Andrew.
So everyone email me at onepodcastfornerds@gmail.com.
That is one
The
podcast
number
for
number 4
nerds.
And let me know if you guys want to see Austin stream either Final Fantasy or Destiny.
14.
We'll get him on there and he can stream that stuff. So email me. If you don't email me, it ain't gonna happen. And if you don't email me, then we all know that no one cares about Austin. Oh,
Austin cares about Austin. That sounded really douchey. I used my own name in the third person.
It suits you.
I care about you, man.
I know, that's true.
I know Bones hasn't said he's been playing anything, but he did play Apex with me today, so I know he's playing that. I started playing Loop Hero today. Incredibly addictive. I actually haven't touched Pokemon Snap for a couple days. It's still a really fun game. I actually want to play it. I know. I want to continue playing it. I just don't have time, and Loop Hero is really easy to do.
You know how you and Nolan are playing that? If once you get a capture card, you and I should stream it because I know like practically everything about the Pokemon world, and we could just sit there and we could have a good time.
Yeah, so I've been playing Loop Hero. Game is a lot of fun. Super easy to play with the background. So like as I do homework, I just have the loop going, and then I can just check in back and forth. But it's actually even hard to like get off that screen and go back because I'm just always looking at like what have I gotten? What can I do with all this stuff? It shouldn't be as addictive as it is. That's that much I have to say. But yeah, as well on Tuesdays, I play Halo with Nolan. You can catch the stream of that at 8 p.m. every Tuesday, much like you can catch this podcast every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on all your major platforming holders. I think that's all we have. I think that's all that we have today. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at One Podcast for Nerds. Again, number 1, number 4. You can find us at twitch.tv/One Podcast for Nerds. That's where you can watch the stream. You can watch if you can't watch the stream at the time, you can find the videos up on YouTube along with this podcast. You can watch the audio version of this. There's no video with it. I just put it up there for people to see. So if you're listening to here, don't sweat that stuff. And I think that's all I have to say. Anything else anyone wants to say? We're all good.
I think
Andrew's a
I'm
bully.
good.
I guess so. I guess we're all good, Andrew.
We're
Guess
all
we're
good.
good. We're good, I think.
All right.
Wait,
Well,
we're not.
let-
No, we're
what?
not good. We're not
We're
good.
not good. We're not good. We're not good, guys. All right. Well, it was great talking to all of you and catching up. I'm gonna play the outro music and